There are two reasons why you may have stumbled across today's video. First of all, you're a loyal subscriber. Hello, ladies and gents. But second of all, the more likely option of the two, you're keen to know, you're interested in the brand new season of Formula E. And today, we're doing a bit of a layman's guide, a bit of a chilled back overview of Formula E, a beginner's guide, a Formula E for dummies, but we all had to start somewhere. There's no shame in today's video. We're going to be covering brief history, season layout, teams and drivers, absolutely anything. So if you're feeling a little bit vulnerable with the start of Season 6, don't worry. I should hopefully cover absolutely everything there is to know for a startup journey into Formula E, if that makes sense. However, if you do have questions, please feel free to throw them in the comment section below. I will be down there all year long, so it doesn't matter if you're watching this video before the season starts or perhaps before Season 7 starts. It really doesn't matter. I'll always be responding, and I'll tell you what, my subscribers, my audience are brilliant at answering questions as well, so don't feel nervous, don't feel hesitant, just do it. We're here to help. That's what the point of today's video is. And I will be covering, as you can probably imagine, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I will be covering Formula E all season long. So if you are interested and want to get to know it just that little bit better, feel free to subscribe. Right, timestamps are in the description, so if you want to skip forward to anything, you can do. There's other videos on the channel scattered around in the build up to Season 6. But I think, first things first, let's take a look back at the previous 5 seasons of Formula E. Don't worry, you don't need a textbook. This is just going to be a quick whistle-stop tour of the journey Formula E has been on. So cast your minds back to 2014-15, our first ever season, our champion Nelson Piquet Jr. with Team China that has now evolved into Neo. Second season, Sebastian Buemi took his first championship. Third season, Lucas di Grassi, and fourth season was this man, Jean-Eric Vergne's first ever championship. And last year, as the table comes up on your screen, Vergne got a second title, the first ever driver to win 2 titles. But as you can also see, the top 3 drivers, all Formula E World Champions. In actual fact, the top 6 drivers won races in the 13 races in Season 5. Such was the close nature of Season 5. A total of 8 different drivers won across the entire season, and 10 of the 12 teams were on the podium. Formula E, it's a complete different ballgame to most of the motorsports. You go into each weekend not having a clue who's going to win. Wheel-to-wheel racing, it's intense, but it's brilliant. Jean-Eric Vergne was your driver's champion. He drove for DS Techeetah, who were also the team's champions, the first ever year they were able to do it. The season before Season 4, Audi Sport were team's champion, but Season 1, 2 and 3, it was Renault Edams who got a triple in a row of the team's championship. They're no longer in the sport, they've evolved into Nissan. Sebastian Buemi, who drives for Nissan, almost had a chance at the championship, but look how close it is between Sebastian Buemi all the way down to Andre Lotterer in P8. 6 different drivers could have won the championship on the final weekend. That's happened every single year in Formula E, and I imagine Season 6 will do the exact same. The season layout of Formula E doesn't change much for Season 6 compared to Season 5. However, it is substantially different to other categories, MotoGP, Formula 1, World Rally. Formula E likes to do things a little bit differently, not just the electric element, not just the fact it's based on street circuits, but around the fact everything takes place on one day. I'll get onto that a little bit later on. 14 races in Season 6, 2 double headers, so the first race of the season in Saudi Arabia and the final race of the season in the UK, in London, are double headers, so we get 2 races. So that's a nice little element to the season this year. 12 countries we will be racing in, over 5 different continents, North and South America, Europe, Asia and Africa, somewhere where we don't go in Formula 1. There are 3 new locations, 2 new countries. We're going to South Korea, Seoul, for the first time. We're heading to Indonesia, Jakarta, for the first time. And we're also going back to London. We haven't done that for quite some time. The XL Arena is the final 2 rounds of this season. Race day. I mentioned it a second ago. It's all on one day. It's a chaotic day, but it's always a lot of fun. You get up early in the morning, practice 1, 45-minute session. Not long after, there's another practice 2, another 45-minute session, giving the drivers a first proper chance to put in some fairly representative lap times. However, the real session starts, the real competition starts at qualifying. Now, at first glance, qualifying looks a little bit complicated for Formula E, but don't worry, I will explain it. Here we go. 24 drivers on the grid this year. So, the session, an hour session, is broke down into 6 groups of 6 drivers. They will do their, so group 1 will go out, they will set their lap times, then whoever's quickest in that session will get a single point. So that's a new addition for Season 6. Then the second group will go. Whoever's quickest in that group will get a point, but all of the times from all 4 groups are calculated to see who are the top quickest 6. They go to Super Pole, one final chance to put in a lap time, and that forms our grid. In the groups, so the initial groups, they have 6 minutes for the 6 cars to set their lap times. And the groups are determined by championship position. So Group 1 is the top driver, number 1, all the way down to number 6. Group 2, as you can guess what I'm about to say, is number 7 down to number 12. That's how it works. Super Pole, as I just mentioned, is the top 6 quickest drivers out of the 4 groups. And the person on pole position, so the quickest time overall, gets 3 additional points in the championship. So potentially there's a maximum of 4 points a driver can gain over qualifying. 1 if they're top in their own group, and 3 more if they get the quickest time overall in Super Pole. Here's a fun little section. I always like to do this with beginner's guides for Formula E, Formula 1 and Formula 2. I like to just do a little snapshot of the teams and drivers that are on the grid, because a lot of you are watching this video because you're completely oblivious, completely new to the sport. I understand that. Like I said earlier, we were all like that at some point. So I like there to just be an entry point where I can say, oh yes, I recognise that person, I'm going to support them. So I will do a few names, a few teams. For Season 6, there are 4 rookies in drivers, and there are 2 new teams. And I imagine a lot of you, I've got a lot of comments about this, are coming into Formula E because of the 2 new teams. Mercedes-Benz EQ and Porsche. 2 very big names in the world of not only German motorsport, but global motorsport. And Formula E have very kindly sent me these 2 quick videos for you to watch.
Making their long-awaited return to single-seater racing, Tag Heuer Porsche enter Formula E as a brand new team with big ambitions and a lot to learn. To help them achieve this, they've signed former DS Chachita man Andre Lotterer, who brings 25 races and 4 podiums worth of experience to the team.
I'm aware that in the beginning we will need a bit of time to adapt ourselves. Anyway, in my mind I want to go to Riyadh and be on the podium. That's a fact, and let's see who's going to be up for the fight.
He's joined by Neil Jarney, who had a brief run in Formula E in 2017, but returns to the grid to make his Gen 2 debut this season. Both Le Mans winners, both World Endurance champions, and with the oldest combined age on the grid, it's clear to see that the team are valuing experience over youth. But will it pay off in their debut season, or will it be a trial by fire for the illustrious German manufacturer? Porsche may have a clean slate in Formula E, but they'll be looking to add to their long, rich heritage both on and off the track. The first car with a Porsche badge rolled out over 70 years ago, and they haven't looked back since. Having dipped their toes in the water last season as HWA Racelab, Mercedes-Benz EQ have transitioned to a full factory entry for this season. The highly rated Stoffel Vandoorne remains after a promising debut season featuring a pole position and a podium. He's partnered by Nick de Vries, the newly crowned Formula 2 champion, who'll be looking to stamp his reputation on the Formula E grid and establish himself as the top rookie in the series. It's the youngest lineup on the grid, but will their investment pay off?
So yeah, I'm settling nicely with Mercedes EQ.
This is the first
first time we really hit the ground on official testing with all the different parties involved and everyone being race ready. So yeah, it's exciting, and I hope that we can get out of the garage soon as well.
With the decorated history in sports cars, touring cars and Grand Prix racing, Mercedes have a lot to live up to as they make their Formula E debut. They'll be aiming to build on the foundation of HWA with consistent points and podiums, and maybe even a championship challenge. Mercedes-Benz automotive heritage is unmatched, with a history that stretches all the way back to the 1880s and the creation of what is considered to be the very first motorcar.
Thank you once again to Formula E for sending me those videos. If you're not aware, last season I was able to strike up a bit of a partnership with Formula E, so they send me race highlights and little goodies like that, so thank you once again. But teams and drivers, who should you support? Now, it's always nice to support a driver from your own country, but I understand that's not always an option in Formula E. So, who are some notable names on the grid? Well, two-time champion, the only two-time champion, Jean-Eric Vergne is a very popular man within the paddock. The French driver is a former Formula 1 driver. There's quite a few former Formula 1 drivers on the grid in Season 6, including this man. Drove for Toro Rosso for a brief stint and was part of the Red Bull Young Driver programme and was in the mix for a Red Bull seat for a time. As I said, he drives for DS Techeetah and is our current world champion. Another very, very popular name and face, Stoffel Vandoorne, former McLaren Formula 1 driver, Fernando Alonso's teammate in 2017 and 2018. Last year was his first year in Formula E, driving for HWA Race Lab, which has evolved into Mercedes EQ. Stoffel's first year in Formula E was quite strong considering the pretty awful car he had underneath him. One pole position and one podium he has to his name. However, the most wins in Formula E history goes to this man, Sebastian Buemi. Only one world championship for the Swiss driver. However, he was dominant in both Season 2 and Season 3, missing a few rounds at the end of Season 3, cost him that championship, which eventually went to Lucas de Grassi. Buemi is always quick, has won races in every single season except Season 4, and will do well this season. Another famous name from the world of Formula 1, Pascal Wehrlein. Young, quick, this man is regarded as one of the better drivers on the Formula E grid to have not yet won a race. I think he will be quick this year. I think he will definitely be in contention to win races this season, and I think could really be a bit of an underdog. Just like the likes of Felipe Massa, just like the likes of Antonio Felix da Costa, Maxi Gunter, but a full breakdown of all the teams, all the drivers is available on the channel. You can check that out right now. 4 rookies on the grid in Season 6. One former Formula 1 driver. This man, Brendan Hartley.
Yeah, so we definitely were racing, but it's been great. I've had 6 or 7 private tests with Geox Dragon Racing in the lead up to this. It's gone well, but in private testing you never really know where you are. In some ways it's good because you're only looking at yourself, but when we rolled the cars out the last couple of days, there's a sense of excitement to see all the other teams there, all the other drivers, and you start maybe looking at the competition a bit more, which in some ways is great. We have some references, but in some ways, yeah, probably focusing on yourself is not a bad thing either, particularly here in Valencia where the track's maybe not that relevant. But yeah, it's gone really well. We've had no major technical issues, particularly on day 2 we're relatively competitive. Both Nico and I were in the top 10. The times are incredibly tight, and like I said before, it's hard to know how relevant this track's going to be for the the very tight, twisty, bumpy street tracks that we're going to be expecting. Coming in as a rookie, I'm well aware that it's going to be a tough challenge, and the competition's extremely fierce, maybe one of the most competitive championships in the world in terms of drivers and teams, and so yeah, I'm up for the challenge. I'm looking forward to it, and I guess the competition is a big one. As I said before, there's many manufacturers, some of the world's best drivers, and there's a lot of interest, particularly as an electric race series that that races in the heart of urban environments, you know, which is, it's really unique in that respect. Yeah, I mean, there's been a few other drivers that have been there from the beginning, and I'm obviously coming in quite late, but there's a real sense of excitement in the paddock, and I think more and more people are taking interest, and it's also getting the attraction of a new fan base as well. Myself and Mitch obviously get on well, and we both live in Monaco now, so we see each other every now and then. And even over the last couple of years, I've been chatting to a lot of the FE drivers. How is it? And everyone's happy. Everyone's happy to be here. Everyone enjoys the racing, and yeah, it's going to be fun to go out, wheel to wheel with Mitch. I've known him for a while, but I don't think we've actually raced against each other before. So yeah, it'll be good fun. I think my goals should be personal, because it's hard to predict where we're going to be as a team. There's obviously an element of luck involved, but I guess I want to do the best job that I can. I know that there's going to be some challenges along the way to get up to speed, but to stand on the podium a couple of times would be great. Fighting for a championship is obviously the goal, and I don't know how realistic that is for the first season. But I guess the goal should be on my own terms, and only I'll know each weekend if I'm happy with the job that I've done.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Brendan is not our only rookie on the Season 6 grid. There are 3 more. This man, James Collado, someone relatively unknown in the single-seater world. He was very quick in junior categories through Formula 3 and a few races in GP2. Had potential but never quite squeezed into Formula 1, and has spent a lot of his career over in WEC and GT cars. He makes the leap back to single-seaters with a Jaguar. This man, Nico Müller, formerly part of Audi's Young Driver Programme and Audi's DTM charge, now moves over to Formula E full-time. Previously, he was working with Audi Sport Formula E team. He now partners Brendan Hartley at Dragon Racing, meaning Dragon have 2 rookies in their car, which is brave considering they finished right near the bottom of the team's championship last season. And our final rookie, for the moment, we're quite used to changes mid-season in the Formula E grid, but for the moment, our final rookie is this man, Formula 2 2019 World Champion Nick de Vries. Didn't quite manage to wiggle his way into Formula 1, so Formula E have snapped him right up, just like they did with Alex Albon last year. Albon, of course, now driving for Red Bull Racing, but Nick de Vries did 2 better than Albon and won Formula 2, and I think will be a very popular boy in the championship. The championship itself, how's it broken down? We spoke earlier on about 14 races across 12 countries, 12 different teams, 24 drivers, lots of goodies there. So if you've missed that part of the video and jumped straight forward to this, you can go backwards and see that in the last 2 sections. However, what are the drivers doing? I know that sounds really basic, but I'm really trying to cover all angles of this video and for the championship for you. So to put it in layman's terms, whoever finished the race first wins. Pretty straightforward. There's no extra gimmicks in terms of that. There's no dummy laps. None of that in Formula E. It's just like Formula 1. You start the race, you go to the finish. If you crash, you're out. Very, very straightforward. The point system is, again, very similar to Formula 1. For a first place finish, you get 25 points. Second place, 18 points. Third, 15. Fourth, 12. Fifth, 10 points. Then for 6th, you get 8 points. 7th, sorry if this is boring. 7th, you get 6 points. 8th, you get 4 points. 9th, 2 points. And 10th place is 1 point. You get 1 point for being fastest in your own group in qualifying. You get 3 points for pole position in qualifying. And also, whoever is out of the top 10 drivers at the finish line, so from 1st to 10th, whoever gets the quickest lap out of those drivers gets an extra point. So it works a little bit differently to Formula 1. If you're in the top 10, whoever's quickest out of those gets a point for over 1 lap, if that makes sense. Formula 1, if they're not in the top 10 and they have the fastest lap, no one gets the point. So it's slightly different in that way. The championship in Formula E, as I mentioned earlier, goes over plenty of countries. However, the race format is slightly different in the sense that, first of all, it's all over one day. However, Formula E, due to the fact it doesn't have pit stops, doesn't have different tyre compounds, Formula E's element of strategy comes through attack mode and fan boost. Fan boost is voted by you, the viewers. It's something very controversial, but what you can do is give a driver a 5-second boost, a one-time use boost, and it's the top 5 favourite drivers get this boost. So it's very similar to Nitros if you play racing games. It's very similar to DRS in Formula 1. But they can only use it once, and it has to be in the second half of the race. And it's the top 5 drivers that are most popular as determined by the fans. It's controversial, but it's still in Formula E for Season 6. Attack mode's a little bit different. It changes and varies each race weekend how many times the driver can use it. Normally it's 2. The drivers drive through the attack mode zone and get an extra boost for 3 minutes. Rules and regulations, well, we were just talking about attack mode, so let's talk about that again. So fan boost, very straightforward, 5-second boost, one-time use. Attack mode is that real element of strategical analysis, I suppose, in Formula E. So on each track there will be the attack mode zone, and it's usually offline. So on a straight, rather than going straight, you'll have to go to the other side of the track, or on a corner, you'll have to go to the outside, losing a lot of time. You will perhaps lose 5 seconds, 3 seconds of lap time, and more often than not, you will lose positions thanks to going through attack mode. But what it means is you're able to use extra power within your car, quicker down the straights, quicker through the corners, and potentially make up more positions than you lost. They trialled it last year and I thought it was fantastic. A really unique way of spicing up the sport, giving it that different element than the likes of Formula 1, than the likes of MotoGP, and it worked well. Racing was much better, but drivers have to use it, and that's the critical thing. You can't go a whole race without using it. You have to use it for the determined times that they choose at the beginning of each weekend. But like I said, more often than not, it's 2 times use, and it's in 3-minute batches. So some drivers use it early on, try and make up positions in the opening laps. Other drivers will use it after a safety car. Last year, they were able to use it during a safety car to get rid of it. They can't do that anymore, so it's going to add that extra element for Season 6. Also, in the championship and the rules and regulations, tyres. I mentioned it briefly a little bit earlier on. There is no compounds of tyres that are different than the one that are on the cars right now. One tyre compound across the season, an all-weather tyre compound, so there's no extra degrading on one car, there's no soft tyre, hard tyre, because there's no mandatory pit stops. The drivers obviously can do a pit stop if they get some damage on the car, they lose a front wing, they get a puncture. That's quite unlikely in a Formula E car. It's quite robust, it really is like a Batmobile. However, the way they get around that with strategy is through attack mode. The other rules and regulations for Formula E aren't too dissimilar to other racing series. Of course, you've got your bog standard, no deliberately crashing, no corner cutting, that kind of thing. But apart from that, it's all very straightforward. But I also understand as the season goes on, there will be the rulebook will become slamming out on the desk for different incidents. So this is definitely the section where I could just give you a load of complicated information, but if you have a query, pop it in the comment section below. I will answer for you. And if I don't, Twitter me. Twitter DM me, send me a message. I'm always available. Where can you watch Formula E Season 6? I always get asked this question, and it's very difficult to answer because you're all from all over the globe. So everyone has a completely different area where they're able to watch Formula E. So in short, first of all, I'm from the UK, so that's my best knowledge is where you can watch it in the UK. However, globally, practice and qualifying is on YouTube for free on the Formula E channel, which is fantastic. This is one of the best ever moves Formula E did, was make it available on YouTube. The race, however, isn't available on YouTube for all countries. So in the UK, we can't watch it on YouTube, the race. That's not possible. But for most people in Europe and Asia, they can watch it on YouTube and also on Formula E's official sites, on the website or on the app. So that's brilliant. That's super accessible for the fans. Formula 1 and other series really need to take note of that. I will, in the description, there's going to be lots in the description for you in today's video, I will leave a link to where you can pick your country and it will tell you where you can watch Formula E. So, in America, it's on Fox Sports, on Facebook, on YouTube, on the Formula E sites. In the UK, it's on BBC, so on iPlayer, it's live on iPlayer, on the red button, or if you go over to BBC Sport, the website, there's a live link there as well. Again, if you're from anywhere else, I really recommend you go either to Formula E's official site or, again, to the link that I've included in the comments section below. But the fact it's on YouTube is absolutely lovely, and I can't thank them enough for doing that in Season 6. And sometimes, last year, you were able to watch the race on YouTube even though they said you weren't. So you can try it, but I definitely recommend, if you're worried, check out the link below. And finally, the last piece from me. Again, if you've got any questions and you've got this far, throw them below. I will answer. I just want to keep reminding you, and you don't feel scared or worried. What am I going to be doing for Season 6? To be totally honest with you, it will be not too dissimilar to the end of Season 5. So if you're new around here, you'll have no clue what I'm on about. If you've been here a little while, you will know. Actually, I think it'll be more similar to my Season 4 content I did a few years ago. So my current plan, if you want to add any suggestions, you can do, feel free. Current plan is to do a race preview and a race review, and scatter a few videos or so in between. So nothing too crazy, but still you're getting a nice amount of content there. A little bit more than last year, a little bit more than Season 4. But the game changer for the entire Season 6, I will be working with Formula E, getting those 1-minute highlights, driver interviews, all that good stuff. Even little bits of crashes, crash analysis. Oh, I cannot wait. So even if you can't watch the race, don't worry, highlights will be here. I will be doing race breakdowns just like we do with Formula 1. It'll be very, very similar. Over the next few days, I will be doing predictions videos, and of course, over the season, I will be doing driver news, updates. I'm sure there will be some kind of driver transfer. So if you want to keep up to date with Formula E, yes, go and follow Formula E's news sites and all that good stuff, but you can also follow me if that makes you feel a little bit better. And that's your lot. I kind of feel I've missed a lot of things, but I look at the time and think that's a very long video. So you know what I'm going to say? Any questions, put them in the comments section below. Of course, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're really looking forward to the season, which, oh my, I haven't even mentioned this. Starts on Friday. Starts on Friday this week. Blimey, I should have mentioned that. Yeah, oh well. If you made it this far, you will know. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new, feel free to subscribe to keep up to date with all of Formula E news, gossip, reviews, and hey, any Formula E stuff, to be totally honest with you. Thank you for watching. Once again, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something as well, if that's what you were looking for in today's video. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.